You know, guys, dealing with difficult people is challenging in general, but when you're faced with having to deal with that pain in the rumpus character at work, you know, the place you have to be at every day, it can be extra challenging. But there are some rules of the road that can help you navigate those difficult, irritable, non-social, passive-aggressive, generally unpleasant people you have to face every day. Joining me from the Protocol School of Washington, the Queen of Comportment, yes, Pamela Eyring.
Love my titles.
Yeah,
thank you, Tyler.
Got to keep you guessing. Got to keep you guessing.
I like it.
All right, so yeah, I mean, if somebody's difficult, you don't have to deal with them unless it, of course, it's your job, and you got to.
Yeah.
And let's face it,
and they're there.
People are humans, and we're all different. But how do you deal with some of these folks that are just unpleasant?
Yeah, sometimes it's just a one-off. You know, maybe they're just having a bad day, and you can let that go. But if it's consistent, and you think, you know, there's a big problem, don't go and tell all the other coworkers. Say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And then be direct with them and say, you know, every time I propose an idea, you shoot it down. Right. And I'm just wondering, are all my ideas that bad, or what? And so you address it with them personally. And no one likes confrontation. That's probably the hardest thing to do when you're dealing with a difficult coworker.
Well, no. I don't mind confrontation. I rather enjoy it. But
well,
that's me.
You're rare, because a lot of them don't. They just say no, and then they build it up. Right. And they tell people, or they get really mad at the other person. What
about the negative Nellies? And we all have friends, I've worked with a few, that the kind of guy that if you give him a $20 bill, he's going to be like, man, I needed 2 10s. You know, that no matter what you do, woe was me, you know, the Eeyore variety. What do you do with those guys?
Yeah, this is when you put on Teflon, you know, just have a coating, because sometimes they won't change. They're consistently negative. Right. So you stay away from the person, try not to deal with them as much, or just let them, you know, when they go out and say, you know, I think I'm going to take the high road on this one. Yeah. Because it's so easy to, it can be contagious. Right. Negativity in the workplace can be contagious, so you, again, put that Teflon on and go, you know, negative Ned or negative Nancy, I'm staying away from them.
That's just him. You know, our quote today, in fact, was, be happy to drive everyone else crazy, right?
And that's what you do. To counteract it, just say, well, I'm glad you're having a great day. Walk over and get a coffee.
And so, because sometimes I'll do that when you know, maybe somebody's very pleasant at work. I go out of my way to be pleasant to them. Yeah. Maybe I'm needling a little bit, but I can't help it. I'll just be like, hey, how are you?
Talk to me.
Yeah, and force them in the conversation.
Yeah, I wouldn't force it. Just, you know.
Don't poke the bear?
No, because you just don't know. They might really be having a bad day, or it's just them, and you're not going to get the response you want anyway. Right. And then you get into that.
And then you just, you're taking time away. All right.
Yeah, you got other things to do.
All right. Pamela Eyring from the Protocol School of Washington. You're going to stay with us. We have a couple other tips, some good stuff about how to deal with the know-it-all at work, so you're not bullied at work as well. Yes. So if you've got that coworker that just sucks the wind out of a room when they walk in, we'll talk about that coming up in a bit.
Do some techniques.
All right, you're back. All right. So
there's so much to talk about.
There is. You know, we always have that negative person that is in a workplace, a place you have to deal with them. If it's your friend, you just don't call Eeyore anymore. But when you got to come to work, you got to deal with somebody who's just not necessarily the most pleasant person, or, you know, crayon on the box. What about workplace bullying? We hear about that. It happens. It's a real thing.
You have to address it right away. I mean, if it's consistent, and it will escalate. So if you feel you're getting bullied, you first try to talk to the person about it and say, you know, this is how I'm feeling about it. You know, this behavior is not appropriate. It's not necessary.
What kinds of things
We're professionals.
What kinds of things are bullying versus someone just being, because some people are just jerks, and it's okay. I mean, you know, we've all been guilty of it. I mean, some people are just and just don't care.
Yeah, it depends on their voice, their tone of voice, and if they're like demeaning, or if they are sarcastic, or they say, you know, call you names. Right. That's bullying. Okay. That's abuse. So you can address it with them first. You know, if they said something to you like, "You look like crap today." Right. Why do you always dress like that? You look like crap. And you're like, where'd that come from? And then the next day they say something else about your hair, or about you, or your work.
So it's just a constant,
it's a constant, like, crappy kind of deal. Right. I would try to address it first with them and say, look, I don't know what the problem is, but this is happening, and it's not appropriate. It's not professional. If it continues, go see the boss.
And that's different than like somebody just being, because some people are just not nice individuals, and that's just the way it is. That's different if they're state of themselves themselves and are not nice versus outwardly saying to bring you into it.
That's right.
What about the office know-it-all that, just knows everything, no matter what?
And interrupts you when you're trying to share.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it keeps on and going like that.
Yeah, exactly. You fire them.
That's right.
But if you have someone that's the know-it-all, if they keep interrupting you, like they're in a meeting and you're trying to plan, but it's your job to be doing that task or that responsibility, you can say, Nancy, I've got this. Let me share my thoughts on it first. Or listen to their ideas and say, that is an option. We have had experience with this company and it didn't work out for us. So we're going to move forward with this one.
Okay.
So, taking back the control, because that's really what a know-it-all wants, is the control. Take back the control.
Sure, that makes a whole lot of sense. Of course, a lot more tips we're going to put for you at abccolumbia.com. Pamela Eyring from the Protocol School of Washington. Great stuff on dealing with the people you've got to deal with because you got to have a job, you got to pay the mortgage. So you got to come in and sometimes, put up with them. Sorry, Grace, you got to put up with me again tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
I know. It's terrible.
Call me if you need help.
Pamela Eyring, Protocol School of Washington. Links for you at abccolumbia.com. Stay with us. We're coming back.